Alright, welcome to day 2 of the Bad Guys Club. Today we have the Hell Shriner. This was a sketch that I did just a little bit ago, and we're going to bring this into Adobe Illustrator Draw and start doing the line work and everything like that, just like yesterday. Alright, so, gonna jump in here. How's everybody doing today? Everybody's doing good? If you guys have any questions, by the way, please, by all means, ask away. Ooh, excuse me. Alright, so hopefully we can bring this in. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get the files up to date in Photoshop Sketch, but it looks like everything's good. There we go. For some reason my screen switched. Alright, so open this up. Blow this up a little bit. Alright. Is anyone else doing any type of Inktober or any other type of thing like this? I'd love to hear it. And by the way, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask away. Woohoo, got 11 people watching. That's awesome. How's everybody's Tuesday going? Going good? Having fun? Creating anything awesome? Yeah. Let's do this on a separate layer, because I want to go through and I want to recolor these later. So I haven't used Procreate since the original, like when it was first released, back, God, I don't know how long ago, like when I had my first ever iPad. So I haven't used it ever since then. I use Adobe products because I use Adobe products for all my other illustration work, and so it's best to use it so that I can bring this into Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop. It's all vector unlike Procreate, so that's the main reason why. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm hopefully not going to get sick. My fiance is actually sick right now, and I'm very nervous that I'm going to get sick. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. Was up till probably about 1, 2 a.m. this morning working on some client work, some branding work. So accidentally slept in a little bit this morning, but I still got my morning routine in, doing a little workout, and then also doing, well, I actually didn't get my meditation in because I noticed that we have ants in our bedroom. Yay! So now I have to go and get traps for ants. This is my first time ever actually doing one of these challenges, one of these October Halloween themed challenges. I always said I was going to try Inktober, but never got a chance to. Yes, I'm going to be at Adobe Max this year. I will have a table at the marketplace, which I believe is on the Wednesday. I'm also going to be on Adobe Live. I think I'm actually, just like last year, I will be one of the first people on Adobe Live at Max this year. I have no idea what I'm going to be creating. Who knows? Maybe I might be working on one of these at Adobe Max. Hello. But yeah, hopefully you guys are having fun. Wow, 15 people are watching. Jeez. This is insane. I can't believe so many people are watching. Okay, let's create another layer here so we can do one fail swoop. Didn't like that. Sometimes it takes a couple of passes. I like that one. That one works. That works better. But this one I want. Do I want it? Yeah. Let me redo that. The sketch for this one was probably about maybe a couple minutes, if that. I think I need to switch, get my glove out. Yeah, it took about, I would say it took about maybe between 2 to 3 minutes to do this sketch. The thing that I had the actual face figured out, but I just hadn't figured out the body, and so I decided to make him like this geeky accountant looking guy. Okay, let's see. Not too bad. I wish that this was a little bit. There we go. Much better. Yeah, and by the way, for all those tuning in, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. It helps to helps the time pass. Give him his devil horns. Yeah, I need better than that. I'm gonna try to do this every day. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it every single day, but I'm gonna try. I know that there will definitely be certain days where I may have to like do these illustrations in advance, specifically when I'm at Adobe Max. Just because I know that there's no way that I'm gonna have enough time to do these. So I actually have, I do have a Creative Market account. I sell an avatar generator on there. I also sell my color swatches, the swatches that everyone always sees, actually, just so you guys can see it. So like all of my color themes that I use and everything, I sell those on there. And I even have an emoji pack as well that I sell in Creative Market. So I feel like it's a good way to start doing your passive income, but eventually it's good to have other sources of passive income. For instance, like with me, I actually created a course, or excuse me, an ebook and course, and was able to make about $2,500, I think, from sales from it. So like those types of things I feel like are more profitable. I can tell you, and by the way, I'm very open about money. I can tell you that on Creative Market, I've probably made maybe a couple $1,000s over the last 3 or 4 years that I've had the account. So it's not like a giant return. But I do believe heavily in passive income. I think that passive income is very important, especially for creatives who want to be more independent from having a job or independent from freelance work. I do it because it's good to just like diversify the money that comes in versus just you know, doing client work and things like that, because there's going to be times where when you're freelancing, especially full time, where you don't have much client work that comes in, and so having passive income is very beneficial. And by the way, if I happen to miss any questions, I'm sorry. I can't really scroll through since I'm trying to do this. If I catch a question before it like disappears, I'll try to answer it, try to swipe up just to see what it was. Yeah, today after today's live stream, and after I get everything prepared for the Instagram post with this guy, I'm going to also be working on some freelance work. I'm going to be working on some branding for one of my new clients. We've been working together now, excuse me, for about a few weeks, maybe. Well, we've been talking about working together for months since May, and then last month we finally got everything signed, and we got things rolling. Just gotta get this curve just right. I had a fun time trying to explain to my fiance what a Shriner was. I don't think I did it very well. Yeah, we can do better than that. Thanks. Wow, it's so great to see like so many people popping in compared to yesterday. Like I guess I should definitely be doing stuff like this more often, like showing process, showing stuff like this. What do you guys think? Do you guys like seeing all this? Need a smaller brush. Might be too small. Eh. Yeah, like I haven't posted a new YouTube video probably since May. I know I need to, but no problem. I'm always glad to like to share my process and share knowledge with people. I really do believe in that old quote. I can't remember who says it, but the fact that knowledge is power. In fact, that was my high school motto. Knowledge is power. Of course, I didn't believe it back then, but I definitely believe it now. I'm actually trying. I'm part of me is wondering if I should go back to my high school reunion or not. Oh, got some questions that popped up. What screen texture cover do you use, please? Actually, I was just looking at this the other day, so let me quick pull that up. I think it's like an iCarez textured screen protector. But I'm going to look that up for you because I know this is a question that a lot of people ask me. So one moment. Yeah, it's an iCarez, ICAREZ. It has a picture of the planet Jupiter in the image. So that's the one that I use. It's like $7.95 in the US. Thank you so much for having the Illustrator draw tutorials geared up. Hello, India. It's always fun to hear where people are from and everything. Where's everyone else from in the live stream? Yeah, you should be able to find it. In fact, my friend Vic Bell, she was the one that actually reached out to me. She had seen the live stream from today, and she was like, you know, what kind of screen protector do you have? And I was like, let me look it up for you. Rhode Island. Niagara Falls, Canada. Oh, wow. I actually came very close to being in to seeing Niagara Falls once. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. India, Seattle. One of my friends lives in Seattle. Okay, so this one's gonna need a little finesse. Not bad. So those of you who are doing these other types of October challenges, the creative challenges, what are some of the things that you guys are working on? I'm curious, is anyone working on this challenge? And by the way, this is the Bad Guys challenge. Bad Guys Club challenge. I have not actually dressed up for Halloween in many years. But my favorite Halloween costume, and I think I still have the mask somewhere, is Michael Myers from the Halloween movies. No, I wish I could pull off a Michael Jackson though. You know, one gloved hand. Okay, let's see. We'll do the rest of the body and then we'll go for the arms. Oh, cool. I didn't know that he had a challenge this year. I'll have to check, see what his challenge is. I saw one of my friends, Lee Rubenstein, who's the founder of Art Snacks. he's doing Inktober, and I felt like, because I wanted to do something like that, but I looked at what the Inktober roster looked like, and I was just like, this is kind of boring. But then I saw what was going on with the Bad Guys Club. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And we'll close that loop. Sorry, no prendo español. Yo prendo un poco de español. Very little. I eventually want to learn because my future mother-in-law only speaks Spanish. Oh yeah, Furry Little Peach. I love her stuff. I love her YouTube channel. She actually I reached out to her a while back and she actually responded. I was a little shocked. It's always cool when you get to see illustrators who actually will respond to sorry for the dog barking. Who will respond to people who follow them. That's what I try and do. Like I actually have a large list of people or of messages in my DM that I need to answer. Bale, quiet. Sorry about that. Bale, quiet. Okay. There we go. This was one of my favorite tricks I ever learned, was by putting these on separate layers and then being able to erase the excess. So what's everyone's favorite Halloween movie? I know I saw someone say that Halloween was their favorite. My favorite... My all-time favorite Halloween series is a B-movie series called Sleepaway Camp. Has anyone ever heard of Sleepaway Camp? I would be shocked if you did. Because usually whenever I talk about Sleepaway Camp to people, they're like, what? Thank you. There we go. We got the pants done. Now we got to do the arms. Actually, I think before we do the arms, we're going to do the tail. Because I know this is going to be a tricky one. Not bad. No worries, no worries. I am using Adobe Illustrator Draw to do this. But I use for the sketch Adobe Photoshop Sketch, and both of these programs are free in the App Store. And if I'm correct, you can even install these on your phone. I'm not sure though. I feel like someone mentioned that one day, but I'm not sure. Okay. And I'm just going to lower the opacity of this for now, because now we're going to tackle what I find is probably going to be the trickiest part, which is going to be the arms. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Procreate, as I say numerous times throughout all of my streams. Just never have been. I remember the first time I ever used it was back when it first came out, and honestly, I wasn't impressed by it. I know a lot of people use it. I've actually thought about actually trying it out again, just so that I can like compare and contrast these tools to that, so that everyone can get a good grasp of it. Yeah, I love Adobe. I have been to their headquarters numerous times now. I have friends who work there, including my hat. It says Adobe. It's one of my favorite hats. I got that my first Adobe Max. Thank you. Yeah, I think another reason why that I tend to use the Adobe apps over Procreate is because I'm a very brand loyal person. Um, and I love the Adobe apps so much that I think that's been like my biggest barrier from actually using Procreate. So the first time I went to Adobe Max, it was my first ever large scale conference. I go to conferences every year. This year I'm only going to Adobe Max, and I went to my favorite one, Creative South. But I honestly think that Adobe Max is actually really good. I really like it, especially like since I'm kind of like in the background a little bit more with like knowing people at Adobe. But I really like it. I think it is worth it. It is very pricey. I can tell you right now that I've never paid full price for a ticket to Adobe Max, because of the fact that I have a table in the marketplace. So like every year the price goes up a little bit. This year was $500 and I got a free pass. So yeah, I mean I think it's worth it. I think that you should go to it at least once to just experience it and to see everything. So it's like the creative equivalent to an Apple event. Okay, I'm going up here because I saw that there were some good ones. How do you get jobs with the likes of Adobe? Do you reach out first, or do they, or does it just happen? So basically, at least with me, I had a friend of mine, a former coworker, who had been on Adobe Live. He he basically sent an email to them where he showed them my King Kong YouTube video, my speed drawing video, and basically just like really he really sold me to them basically, and within about probably a month or so of that introduction, they flew me up to San Francisco, and I was on the on Adobe Live, and I've been on there ever since. This Adobe Max will be my 4th time on Live. Have I ever tried using a Wacom Cintiq? Yes, before I got my I'm actually gonna use a tool for this because I want it to be straight. Before I got my iPad Pro, I actually had a Cintiq, the 13-inch model, and honestly, like I loved it for the time that I used it. But the biggest problem I ever had with it was portability. I couldn't take it with me when I traveled and things like that, just because of how big and bulky it was. So eventually, like I started to like try out with the iPad Pro. My fiance bought me the iPad Pro, and at first, like I still used the Cintiq. I hadn't really tried out the Adobe mobile apps yet, but once I started talking to Adobe, and they wanted me to be on their live stream, basically using the mobile apps for almost the first time, I kind of fell in love with it. And so I would say within a month, like 3 months to me getting my iPad Pro, I sold my Cintiq to a friend and never looked back. Okay, I know I have other thing. I heard they're coming out for a full-fledged Photoshop for the iPad Pro, I believe, next year. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about anything like that because I actually know things, and I can't talk about it because I'm under NDA. So I can neither confirm nor deny anything that's happening with in the future with any of the mobile apps. Sorry, guys. I wish I could divulge certain informations. All I can say is there's some cool things coming. There we go. That's looking good. I have not used. Basically, like I said, I'm very brand loyal to Adobe. So I don't use any new software that's not Adobe software. Oh, I almost went to Icon, but honestly, like I decided that I needed to save some money, but I just couldn't do it. Yeah, like I said, I need to try out Procreate just so that I can give like an honest like comparison between the two. But I'm gonna tell you this right now, probably the biggest thing for me is that you don't have, it's not vector. All of this that I'm doing right here is all vector. So I'm going to be able to bring it into Adobe Illustrator and change it up. Hey there. Give this guy his spider web tattoos. So are you guys ready for my non-creative rant today? So I found out that there's going to be construction at the condo complex that I live in. And I was walking my dog this morning, and one of my neighbors told me what it was for. Basically, they are putting in a $40,000 electric car charging station, because one person in our entire complex has an electric car. She complained for a couple of years, and then she ended up getting onto the HOA board. And so now they're doing this. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? What is the point? One single person. For the most part, to answer your question, for the most part, a lot of the stuff that I do in Adobe Illustrator Draw is the final product. The only thing that I will do is I will tweak colors sometimes, and I will also maybe if they're going to be stickers or something like that, I'll add the borders in Illustrator. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff is really final. Like, if, for example, yesterday's submission to this was everything was done in here, and then just the color was done in Illustrator. Trust me, like, I agree with you. Like, I do find it limiting sometimes, but honestly, like, I love it. I think that some of the limitations are some of the best parts about it. Okay, so we finally got this side done. Now we got to do the other side. Once we get this other side done, then we're actually finished. I do the elbow here. When someone says that software is limiting, or especially like stuff like on the iPad Pro, I'm actually okay with that. Because honestly, like, yeah, there's a couple things I wish that the software did, and yes, I've told it to the Adobe team. I've also been privy to know that some things that I would love to have on here can't happen. It's just, it would be way too much work for the team. But I will say that I actually prefer how limiting that this seems, because I don't need tons of bells and whistles. Like, I've actually had people from Adobe watch how I work and actually use it as kind of like a case study to see like how I go about doing certain things. And so it's like they see like the thing, and I'll talk to them. I'll tell them, you know, what I struggle with, what I wish there was. Like, for me, the biggest thing that I wish that you could do is I wish that you could select something and move it. So like, select this mustache here and actually move it without having to move the entire layer. So yeah, so my first year full-time freelance, I made over $100,000, or close to it. I can't remember exactly. I think it was like 99,000, so it was very close to 100. But oh, and you're fine. By the way, ask as many questions as you want. I honestly, if this is your last year of college, the best piece of advice I could give you is do not go full time freelance out of college. The reason why is because you're not going to be prepared. I always tell people when they ask me, what I think they should do, like when they should go and do full time freelance and everything like that. I say after you've had at least one or two jobs. I would say actually more 2 to 3 jobs in the industry that you want to freelance in. The reason being is because uh, you need to learn more stuff. You learn in your first job outside of college. You will actually learn way more in that first year, or even that first like 6 months, than you ever learned in college. I could go on about my thoughts with college, but I won't. Um, but I would suggest this. I would suggest that you start freelancing now, and I would go and start freelance and doing freelance work. I would never stop, especially when you're in your first job. Don't get in that trap of having an employer say, "Oh, you make plenty of money. You don't need a freelance." I speak from experience. It's a lie. But I would definitely suggest that if you want to eventually, if your goal is to eventually go full time freelance, is to freelance, from now until you start freelance, until you start doing full time. And by the way, like you're not just like working in studios and working in agencies, you're not going to build up a network that's strong enough. Instead, what you need to do is you need to go to events, go to networking events, go to conferences, because those are going to be your best tools to building your network. I speak from plenty of experience with that. But yeah, like the biggest thing is you should learn from your job, uh, how business works, new tips and tricks on tools, software, and things like that. Basically, like, don't look at your first job as a job, but look at it as graduate school, because you're actually getting paid to basically learn that first year. Sorry, I notice a lot of people are popping up. Let's see. Yeah, so I've been doing design and illustration work for, God, how many years now? I started in high school, and I do count that because of the fact that I was doing freelance work. I worked at out of a print shop for about 8 months during the recession in 2008 2009. I did that because my mom lost her job and we needed the extra money. But I did freelance work that entire time that I was in high school, whether it was mixtape covers, business cards, things like that. And yeah, like I supported us through that. But I've also, like, all throughout through college I did freelance work. Most of my first big clients came from doing freelance work in college. Cards Against Humanity, the Democratic Party, things like that. But yeah, I would say I probably have about, if I count the years of high school, I probably have, I don't know, like 14, 15 years of experience. Yes, I agree. Like it really, like it takes a long time to get used to like working with clients and speaking to clients. Like I honestly did not even have a good grasp of it until probably I would say into my second job. Like yeah, I could talk to clients and everything like that, but I didn't have an extremely good grasp until my second job. And even like when I finally went full-time freelance, it took me a while to get into the groove of things, but now like I can talk to clients, I can sell, you know, my ideas and things like that. So, I love it. Let's see. So the glove does not come with it, with the iPad Pro or anything like that. This is the brand. I have bought a few of these off of Amazon, just because sometimes it helps when you're doing stuff like this. Okay, cool. So we're actually done with the line work. Woohoo! All right, now it's time. Oops. I'm going to take a quick little break so I can answer more of your questions and so I can drink my smoothie. My Exorcist green smoothie. It's just been chilling off camera. Yeah, like I can definitely relate to that. It sometimes does feel that way. But luckily, I am at the point in my career where I can pick and choose who my clients are. And so I can actually decide, you know, am I going to have a client who's going to be that way? Or am I going to not work with this person? Am I going to fire this client? So luckily, I'm at that point in my career. I'm excited to see how many people tuned in this time around. During yesterday's live stream, we had a total of, how many did we have? I feel like we had almost 150 people tune in, which was really, really cool. Just prepping this for the next part of the process. Okay, just had to finish up my smoothie. All right. So next part of this process is actually doing the grayscale values. So the client that I've wanted to work with the most has not changed at all. It's a client that I've seen a lot of my friends work with, and the illustrators and designers that I admire most, and that would be Target. For the longest time, I wanted to work with Adobe, and I'm glad that I'm able to. But I think right now my next conquest for a client is Target. I've wanted to work with them for, I would say, probably about 5 years, since I was in college, or right after I graduated college. So hopefully one day I will. We shall see. If anyone watching out there, it works for Target, please send them my name. Like I always see all of these amazing displays, like every Halloween, especially. That's like my favorite time is when they have the displays, because usually it's my friend Christopher Lee, aka Beast is Back, or even better, my one of my big inspirations, Invisible Creatures. It's usually one of their creations, and so I'm always excited for Halloween to get here so I can see what's new. I know Andrew Kolb has also done like gift cards and things like that. And I will say this, I'm not too proud of this, but I have taken some gift cards from Target, not with any money value on them, but just simply as like, oh wow, this is a really cool gift card design. Yeah, I've had friends who've not only done work for Target but actually worked for Target. Um, but unfortunately, I haven't been able to break into that scene yet. It eludes me. Yeah, so after when I finish all of this today, I have branding work that I have to do. I'm hoping to actually share share this next round of branding with the client today, but I have a lot of work I have to do with that. Yeah, I love Andrew Kolb's work. I've actually talked to him before when he helped out with Slaptastic, so that was a lot of fun. I'm working in Adobe Illustrator Draw on the iPad Pro. So, with pricing is always difficult because I can't actually help you figure out how much you should charge. And the reason why is because where I'm at in my career is different than where you are at your career. I will say this, that there is like, I don't charge hourly. I do project to project, but I do have like a system in my head of how I go about pricing things. So, for instance, uh, illustration projects can run between anywhere from the lowest I'll do is maybe 1,000, and they can run. You know, I've had illustration projects go up to $10,000, $15,000, and usually there's a lot of components to that. So it's not just like one illustration is $10,000 or something like that. Usually, like the $1,000 is for one illustration. But with like branding and stuff like that, those can run from 5,000 to 30,000, maybe even higher. I did have one project that it almost happened. It was for $50,000 because it was a lot of stuff involved. But yeah, so I do have a system, but it's more in my head. I pull up my calculator and I start to do the math and everything, but I don't usually share too deep into how I do that. So Illustrator Draw, it's really good. It does have a lot more limitations than Adobe Illustrator does, but I usually will sometimes use them together, depending on what I'm working on. So like what I'm going to do is after I'm done with the fill and shading in the app, I'm going to bring it into Adobe Illustrator, and that's where I'm going to do the coloring because it's a lot easier to do the coloring that way. And by the way, there's a reason why I'm making the shirt very, very dark. It's just so that I can see if there's any like little spots that I miss. The shirt will be a light color, but it's harder to see when you're doing this outline. No problem. Okay. Now we can go light. And we're going to darken this up a little bit just for this spot. Thank you. So does anyone have any plans for this weekend? I know that it's early in the week, but I'm sure some of you might have plans. That is the story of my life. Work, 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 work. But I actually might take off sometime this weekend because my mom is coming into town on Wednesday, and Monday is my birthday. So that's why I might try and do a couple of these over the weekend. Whoops. I might do a couple of these over the weekend so that I don't have to do this on Monday. Thank you. Wow, 5 different restaurants? Why so many restaurants? Wow. That a needle felting workshop? That sounds interesting. What does that entail exactly? So it's actually interesting that you say that because I was just reading I just finished a book this weekend called Make Time, and honestly I've been using some of the stuff that I learned in this, and I love it. I love this book. I'm gonna probably keep reading this book. It taught me some interesting things.